What is up? What's poppin'? You know it ain't no stopping. It is your boy, the International Sensei, and welcome to the Entity Dojo podcast, your source for every damn thing. Keep it right, keep it tight, and above all, please talk to me nice. And we are here now to talk about why Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff, social media can suck at times. Here's my thing. I understand how necessary social media is. I use it a ton. It helps me a lot with like networking, meeting people, but it's also a freaking cesspool of drama and hatred and all this other stuff. Like Twitter, for example, especially from being active in esports for as long as I was. I'm a lot less active now. I kind of really don't even bother with it too much. It's so freaking toxic. I mean, every single day. And mind you, like, not no disrespect, but it's like, especially in the FGC, like, no disrespect, but it's like, you're literally like the bottom of like the esports like totem pole, like as far as like money and things are concerned. And you guys like argue like you're making all this cash, like, bro, like it's not even that deep. Like y'all like y'all regular people. It's like, why are y'all so upset? Like, why does every little thing make y'all mad? You feel me? But it's like, it's so much beef. Everybody talking about this person's mother and that person this and F you and saying the F word and saying racial and gay slurs and all these other things. And like, it sucks because I would say I grew up I started growing up like right before social media like popped like super crazy. And even when I was like in high school and stuff and social media was there, most of the social media beef, quote unquote, that would happen, it would be a lot of like inner school beef type of thing. So it's like if you had Twitter beef, it was someone that you went to school with, so y'all could handle y'all business and no one would be the wiser. Y'all throw y'all have your little fist fight, whatever, and you keep it pushing. But nowadays, like people from whatever country, whatever state, they going crazy. They talking mad wild and yo, they like this and F your mother and I hope your family do this and all this other stuff. And I'm like, what is your problem? Number one, like, why are you this mad? Like, why is someone on the computer making you this upset? Number two, why are you talking about people's family? Like, it's just and a lot of times it's just a video game. Like, what is the problem? Like, the video game is not that important. Like, if you were to leave that, if you turn that game off, like, turn it off. Don't play it. Shoot, I haven't touched my PS4 in months to play games. Like, don't play it. If it really makes you that upset to where you got to be threatening people's life and talking all crazy, like, I don't understand why people go so crazy on social media. Or even, like, people posting, like, overly sexual things. And it doesn't affect me. I'm just saying the things that I notice. Like, it does not affect me. I don't care. And like, I've never gotten into like a real social media argument with anyone. Like that's a lie. I had one. So like quick little story time to break off from the topic. I had one because we were in a Mortal Kombat chat, and there was like one player that like had said some character was like really good, and I'm like I just was like, look, how does that even make sense? Or whatever, and the person in the chat was like, "Oh, you can't even talk because you're not good. If you you can only talk about characters if you're good." And I basically was like, "Look, like how many locals have you won? How many majors have you won?" Like I went in, I was just like, because I was like, let me just nip this in the ass right now. Like I was like, I turned up on him. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm guilty of it as well. Okay, like I had my moment. You know what I mean? Like, I had my moment that day. But I was like, look, I had time that day. Dude was talking crazy. I'm like, look, I'm a caster. I study the game a lot. You know what I mean? So it's like, I understand why certain characters are good, why certain characters aren't. And then it was coming from a player that doesn't perform well. And then you're a player that doesn't perform well at all locally. So it's like, you can't tell me to shut up when you don't even beat the guys that I train with, the guys that like my sparring partner was like best player minus one, like one of the top guys, like one of the best players in Georgia. One of my sparring partner was. So don't sit here and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about when I commentate the game on a regular, get paid to commentate the game on a regular, and study the game all the damn time when I was actively in the community. Like, and you're just reckless. But that was a boo boo on me, so I gotta spank my hand for that because I did turn up unnecessarily. But it is what it is. But that's what I'm saying. Like, just social media is like filled with like so much negativity, and everybody wants to argue, and everything turns into an argument like at the drop of a hat. And I don't care how articulate you are, it is impossible to explain yourself in 150 characters. Number one, because the person that you are arguing with is not reading what you are saying. They don't give a flying fuck about what you're saying. What they're doing is they're reading up until the part that will make them mad. So, like, you said all of this about a person, like, you're arguing with whoever, and you mentioned something about them doing one thing, and they only noticed that one thing. You said all this other stuff, and they noticed that one thing, and you're like, you know what? That one thing makes me mad, so I'm going to get mad, and we're going to argue about it, and this whole thing. But they disregarded all the other stuff that you said. You clarified your statement, you said all this other stuff, and be like, but I think this. I was like, I hope you are not offended. I think blah, blah, blah. And no, they were like, you know what? I don't even want to read that portion. I just want to get to the part that makes me upset so that we can argue. Like, it's ridiculous. And people will do this nonstop. People arguing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's turning into like memes now. People, obviously there's like shows like Button Check and Ultra Chen and all these other stuff, like all these other outlets that cover this kind of stuff. Like, I mean, but it's so dumb. Or even like now, and this is more of like an esports like social media thing, but it's like you'll see freaking fighting game players getting all upset and like doing all this like fake tough guy stuff. I'm like, bro, you guys are not gonna touch each other. It was who was it? This wasn't even social media. This was just like a live event that I noticed. This was Punk and Strider, and they were all up in these, like, all talking all this crazy stuff, all this rah rah rah. Like, you guys aren't gonna touch each other. You guys aren't. Like, let's keep it out. Let's keep it real. Like, you're never going to touch each other. Like, stop it. And then like whoever recorded it, I'm like, we know, like, we get why you recorded it. I mean, it's gonna get buzz around the scene or whatever, but you guys are not fighters, okay? You play fighting games, and that's it. Like, you play fighting games, you do not fight. So it's like, stop acting like you're tough, type of stuff. But anyway, back to the social media thing. Like, people will really like talk crazy. Like, Twitch chat, oh my god. Like, especially for like female gamers who stream or who commentate. Bro, like, some of the most disrespectful shit you will ever read in your life. And I'm like, bro, she's just a female that is trying to commentate a game. Why are you calling her the B word? Why are you calling her a hoe? Calling her a thought? Like, saying all of this shit about her. You don't know the girl. And if she was all of this to you, why are you watching? Just turn off the fucking video. You're cursing at her, calling her the B, calling her the N word, calling her the F word, calling her the this, calling her that. Like, bro, turn off your monitor. If you really hate this person so much, don't partake in their content. Like, why are you being so toxic? And like, it's half the time they don't even be knowing the girl. And I'm like, bro, like, what is wrong with y'all? Or talking about people's mothers, people's deceased parents on Twitter and Instagram, like, going at people. Like, what is y'all problem? Like, and the saddest thing is, like, 9 times out of 10, there's like no real repercussions. Like, you might get Twitch banned from like one stream or something like that. That's it. Like, that's literally it. Like, and they'll go into a whole nother stream and be more toxic, or they'll make a whole nother account and come back with the same toxicness. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, there's no repercussions no more. I mean, like, when we were younger, like, if you talk crazy to somebody, most of the time it was in your school, obviously. Y'all fought, and that was it. Like, y'all handled it right there. Whether it was like a boy or a girl, y'all fought and y'all handled it. And hell, there was some girls that was so gangster, they was fighting dudes, and they was beating dudes up. So, you know, like, so it's like you had to be with the action, you had to be with the hands, But nowadays, you can just sit behind your computer and be safe and say all these things and curse at people and talk about people's culture and all this other stuff. And in some cases, you get praised for that kind of stuff, depending on who it is. There's some players with like massive platforms, or there's some athletes with massive platforms that can say crazy disrespectful stuff and they'll get celebrated for it. Conor McGregor is a prime example. He'll say all kinds of crazy stuff, and he did get in trouble for a couple things. Like, he did get in trouble for a couple things that he said that could be, but there's a lot of stuff that he didn't get in trouble for that he said that was like wildly crazy and disrespectful. Or like freaking Ben Askren, when the whole George Masvidal situation, saying all this stuff about his manhood and his ethnicity and all this other stuff. And then people wanted to condemn Masvidal for when he fought him, knocking him out, hitting him after he was out, and then celebrating, showboating on him. When you said all these things, why am I getting questioned about my reaction to them? Like, you can't say all these things and then tell somebody how to react. Like, that's not how things work. Like, I can't say all these things to you and F your mother and this and that and you're a B and you're this, like, and then if you punch me in my face for talking all this crazy stuff, I can't say that I didn't deserve to get punched because I was talking crazy. But it's like, it's just wild, bro. It really is. But like, use social media to your advantage. Stay away from the toxic stuff as much as you can. Be kind to everybody. Do not get on here talking reckless, talking wild, and just being like a complete jerk to people. Like, I don't understand why people are like this. Like, just enjoy yourself. Like, you have the ability to interact with friends that you haven't seen in years, to people that you met, like maybe on like a vacation, or you met in college that you moved to another state. You have a way to interact with them on a regular basis. So you're constantly connected. You're blessed with that type of technology. Why is everything so negative on there? Stay positive. Have your group of friends. Stay away from the drama and just chill. Okay? But with that being said, I'm the National Sensei. This is the Enter the Dojo podcast. Please follow me on Twitter at Sensei_Global21, Instagram International_Sensei. The Entity Dojo podcast is on SoundCloud, Spreaker, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and all that good stuff, man. Thank you so much. And we must now exit the dojo. Us.